This is a kingdom mentality that no matter what happens to us, our kingdom stands above all kingdoms. So when I say to you, Jesus is holding your hand through the trial, Jesus is with you through the issues, it's not a guarantee that bad things won't happen to you. Simply put, it's not a guarantee that people won't mistreat you, that they won't betray you, wrong you, hurt you. But he still walks through that with you, and what comes out the other side, it may not be that we individually make it through all of our issues, but the kingdom of God survives all of our issues. And the kingdom is bigger than just any one of us. I would love to say to you that no matter what you go through in life, nothing will ever knock you down. You'll never be harmed. But we know that that's pie in the sky. We can call that optimism, but we could also call that lying. When you stand in front of a group of people and go, if you just follow Jesus, nothing will ever knock you down. That's not true. Nothing will ever knock you down. Of course it will. It'll knock you down and it'll kick you while you're down there. And you're still following Jesus. In fact, the early church did never preach stuff like that. They never said in their epistles, if you follow Jesus, none of this stuff will ever befall you. No, they didn't preach that at all because it was always befalling them. But what they did believe is kingdom survives. Kingdom makes it. That what we believe in is bigger than any one of us. That if I fall, the kingdom will roll on. And the reason why that is encouraging is because we're a part of something bigger than ourselves. So no matter what happens in society, no matter what happens to change the way we view church or to change the way we view meetings or what meetings look like or what this even is, no matter what happens, the kingdom comes out on the other side. The kingdom wins in that it continues to roll, it continues to gain steam, it continues, because how do we know? Because it's never failed. 2,000 years of Jesus' prayer has come to pass. That no matter what comes against it, the kingdom keeps rolling on. The kingdom of Christ continues to do what the kingdom of Christ does. Now, my own struggle with this concept of our title is The Chaos We Need. I have rolled over these ideas of chaos and been preaching them now for several years. And what we've done in our sermons of traveling and talking to people about chaos is try to show them the rights that they have as children of God, sons and daughters, that you have rights, that you have liberty. It is for freedom you've been set free. But the flip side of your rights coin is your responsibility. That on the other side of what you have that you get to do is a certain list of things that you must do if you want the world to be the place you want to live in and you want your children to live in and you want your grandchildren to live in. And all of that comes back to kingdom responses. How you respond to your enemy, how you respond to your persecutor, how you respond to your neighbor. And all of that comes back to figuring out who your neighbor is. And I've preached these in so many different ways over the last few years, like trying to identify your neighbor. That your neighbor's not just your buddy next door who you talk to when you mow your yard and he mows his yard. That's the guy that lives next to you. In Jesus' economy, in the kingdom of heaven, your neighbor is the last person you want it to be. It's the Samaritan. It's the guy you were taught to despise or disagree with. That's what makes the kingdom so amazing, is that you're being asked to respond the way Jesus would. You have the right to do whatever you want to do. You have the responsibility to do what is best for your neighbor, for your planet, for your brother. That underlying theme you've heard me teach so many times from Genesis. When God says to Cain, "Where's your brother?" And Cain says, "Am I my brother's keeper?" And as I've told you before, I think the underlying ribbon of the Bible is the answer is yes, you are. And until you figure that out, there's hell to pay in your life. Until you figure out that you're part of why you're here is that. And it sort of hits a peak with Paul's statements to the Corinthians. All things are lawful, not all things are profitable. All things are lawful, not all things edify. In other words, they don't build, I can do what I want, but if it doesn't build Brian, then I need to be careful what I'm doing in front of Brian. And if what I'm doing actually tears him down, then I have to look into my own motivations and say, what's wrong that I would do something to intentionally tear down my brother? What am I doing with my rights that's irresponsible? I'm one of the sons of a king. Maybe I should live like it. So what's a son of a king live like? Well, he gets to do whatever he wants. And if that's our answer, then we push our neighbor aside and we create enemies and we respond differently than Jesus. All of that to say, when we fail to do that, we bring about chaos. And chaos comes in all different shapes, forms, and sizes. Some chaos is the end result of us doing something foolish, sinning in a way that tears someone down. And the chaos that we have, this is why I say to people all the time, I don't have to preach to you about individual sins, like stop doing X. Insert sin. Let's talk about that sin. Stop doing it. I'm here to build your identity so that you know you're free, so that it's beyond you to live in that sin. I don't think God hates that sin X more than he does sin Y or sin Z, and I don't care how big it is or little it is. I don't think that in the Word he hates one more than the other, but what happens is that God hates the effect, the chaos that comes out of his children living in those areas. And so that's why I would hate things for my kids. Not because I just hate that thing so much, but because I know what that thing will do to affect their lives. And so I think that's the heartbeat of how the Father looks at it.